Okay, so in this seventh video, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the background. So somehow we're going to turn this background into something that looks like this. All right. So we already started to work on the background a little bit. You know, using Notepad++, we know that we have what we call a property called background color. The thing is, like, how, if you don't know CSS, if you know if you're a beginner, which most of you are, how do you know what these properties are? Well, W3 Schools is the answer. So check out, go to W3 Schools, click on CSS3, and pause the video and spend about 20 minutes, half an hour, and explore this whole section on background. It's actually a very short one, but man, a lot of great information here. Okay, make sure you do the try it yourself and try all different stuff. Okay, check out the CSS properties, and on this side it was the values. Notice the format of CSS. It starts with a tag, it starts with the open squiggly bracket, ends with a closed squiggly bracket. This is called a property, separated by a semicolon. Oops, separated by a semicolon, and this is the value, and separated by a semicolon. Sorry, this is a colon here, and separated by a semicolon. Here we go again. Property, semicolon, colon. Alright, this is kind of odd. Okay, there's actually two values here separated by a semicolon, right? And here we go again. Property, colon, value, okay, and semicolon at the end. And that's the end of it. Now they're doing CSS quite a bit different than me. They're doing CSS right inside the HTML document, you'll notice. My CSS is what we're going to do is we're going to separate it into a different file, but it's really the same thing. Alright, it's really not that different at all. So let's continue on here. Now, so if you're listening to this, that means you spend about 20 minutes to half an hour in W3 Schools playing around with a CSS3 background tutorial. If not, then stop and make sure you do that. Alright? Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set my background. So in looking at this example here, alright, and following this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go background dash image. You can just use background, you don't have to use background image, but I'm just used to using image. Okay, following the same background of those URL, alright, and then my background image is called, well, let's take a look. What is it called? One of them is called bgcookies.jpg. Alright, so bg_cookies.jpg. Okay, so close that off. Okay, flick back to my browser, refresh it. Okay, there's my cookies, but not exactly doing what I wanted to do. So what I actually wanted to do is I wanted to repeat on the y-axis. Okay, I want to repeat down this way. Alright, and looking in W3 Schools, alright, you can see that we have repeat here. We have a repeat property, so I'm going to use that. Okay, so the next line here, I'm going to go background dash repeat. This is the property, separated by a colon, and go repeat dash y. This is the value. Okay. So if you want to know all the values, you can go to CSS3 reference, CSS reference. All right. Background repeat. Click on this. All right, and you can see all the values here. Let me show you again how I did it. I was kind of fast there. So if you want to know all the properties, all the values associated with the properties, okay, you click on CSS3 reference, look for your property, which is in this case here background, what the heck was it? Background repeat. Okay, and you can see here that this is the property, background repeat property, and the values are down here. These are all the different values. So I want to repeat on the y-axis. Okay, so repeat on the y-axis. Let's see what that does. So cookie jar, oops, wrong one. There. Okay, that looks something like what we want. Something like what we want to do here. Okay, that looks pretty close. So the next thing is I want the stripe background as well. So in order to do that, what you can do is check this out. You can separate this by comma. You guys have two backgrounds. Okay, separate by this comma and then go URL. Okay, BG. Now what's the other background called? What's the other background file called? It's called BG stripes, right? So BG underscore stripes.jpg, right? Close bracket there. So now I'm defining two backgrounds, this one in front of this one. Pretty cool. So if you go back to the web browser and repeat it, there you have it. But there's a problem here. You notice that well, how do I make the stripe background go through here? Well, this is a JPEG file. A JPEG file always has square corners. It doesn't have background transparency. You notice that in the file here that I give you a cookies.png file, the PNG does allow for background transparency. So what I need to do is in here, I need to change this from JPG to PNG. Alright? Portable network graphics. There you go. And do that, flick back to your browser, refresh it, and there you have your background. Okay? So I'm going to add one more property. Here. All right. And in here, I'm just going to make sure that my background always sorts to the left. So I'm going to go background. And I'll be honest, you don't really need to do this position. Background position is a property separate. Background position is a property separate by a colon. Okay, and the value is going to be left. All right. And then if you want to again search for the other related values associated with that property, all right, so you go to background position. All right, sorry, let me just start from home, CSS3, CSS reference, okay, background position. All right, and here you can see all your background properties. All right. So here we go. So here's my background, all right, and it's pretty much all set. Okay. And at this point, I think we're ready to move on to the next tutorial. Okay. I'll see you in the next lesson.